The drama surrounding Caitlin Clark has evolved into something far bigger than a rookie season storyline, transforming into a defining moment for an entire sport that suddenly finds itself at a crossroads. What began as a celebration of generational talent has quietly shifted into a storm of tension, resistance, and uncomfortable truths. On the surface, everything looks like a dream sold out arenas, record-breaking television ratings, and a level of attention women's basketball has never experienced before. But beneath that glossy exterior, something far more complicated is unfolding, something that feels less like a rise and more like a reckoning. Clark entered the league carrying expectations, but also an unspoken assumption that she would simply fit in, earn her place slowly, and follow the established order. Instead, she disrupted everything. Almost overnight, she became the center of gravity, pulling fans, sponsors, and media attention into a league that had spent decades fighting for relevance. Her impact wasn't gradual. It was explosive, the kind of impact that forces systems to react, and not always in ways that make sense. Because while the outside world celebrated her arrival, inside the league, the reaction felt colder, sharper, and at times openly hostile. That tension reached a boiling point when news broke of a massive European contract offer, one so lucrative it would instantly make her the highest paid player in women's basketball globally. It wasn't just a financial offer, it was a statement, a declaration from the global market that her value extended far beyond the structure she had just entered. And instead of sparking universal celebration, it exposed a divide that had been simmering beneath the surface. Veteran players, many of whom had spent years building the league through struggle and sacrifice, didn't rally around her success. Instead, there was frustration, subtle criticism, and in some cases, outright resentment. The argument seemed consistent: experience should matter more than hype. Longevity should outweigh popularity. But that argument collided with the reality the sports world has always operated under. Attention drives value, and right now, Clark generates attention at a level the league has never seen. Her games don't just attract viewers, they dominate conversations. Merchandise associated with her disappears from shelves almost instantly. Even casual sports fans, who previously had little connection to women's basketball, suddenly found themselves tuning in, talking, and engaging. It wasn't just about her skill, though that is undeniable. It was about presence, timing, and the rare ability to capture imagination on a mass scale. Yet, instead of being protected as the league's most valuable asset, she appeared increasingly isolated. Physical play escalated around her, often crossing into moments that sparked debate about intent and fairness. One incident in particular, an eye poke that left her visibly shaken, became symbolic of a deeper issue. Not because of the play itself, basketball has always been physical, but because of what followed. The lack of accountability, the dismissive reactions, even the public mockery, all painted a picture of a player left to navigate hostility without support. What made it more unsettling was the silence from those who should have stepped in: teammates, organizations, leadership. There was no strong defense, no unified message reinforcing that this kind of treatment was unacceptable. In professional sports, a team is supposed to be a shield, a place of trust and solidarity. For Clark, the shield often seemed absent, leaving her exposed in a way that few franchise players ever experienced. At the same time, the broader conversation around her success grew increasingly complicated. Some voices in the media attempted to frame her rise through lenses that had little to do with basketball itself, shifting focus away from performance and toward narratives that divided rather than united. Others questioned her achievements, downplaying records and impact in ways that only intensified the sense of friction surrounding her presence. And yet, the numbers told a different story, one that couldn't be ignored. Ratings surged whenever she played. Attendance followed her from city to city. Entire broadcasts were built around her appearances. The league, after years of incremental growth, suddenly had a centerpiece capable of transforming its trajectory. But instead of fully embracing that opportunity, It seemed caught between honoring its past and resisting its present. This is where the European offer becomes more than just a contract. It represents an alternative path of version of the sport where her value is not questioned, where her impact is embraced rather than scrutinized. It offers financial security on a scale that reflects her global appeal, but also something less tangible and perhaps more important: respect, stability, and a system designed to elevate its stars rather than challenge their legitimacy. For Clark, the decision isn't simply about money. It's about environment. It's about whether she continues in a league where she feels targeted, misunderstood, and unsupported, or steps into one that actively builds around her strengths. It's about choosing between loyalty to a system that hasn't fully accepted her and an opportunity that promises both recognition and protection. And for the WNBA, the stakes couldn't be higher. Because this moment isn't just about one player's future, it's about the league's identity. It's about whether it can adapt to a new era, one driven by visibility, storytelling, and global appeal, or remain anchored in a structure that struggles to accommodate rapid change. Losing a player like Clark wouldn't just be a roster adjustment, it would be a shift in momentum, a signal that the league failed to capitalize on the very moment it had been waiting for. History has shown that sports leagues don't lose relevance overnight. They lose it in moments like this when opportunity arrives, but internal resistance prevents it from being fully realized. When the very forces that should unite instead divide. When the brightest star becomes a source of tension rather than a catalyst for growth. Now, everything hangs in the balance. Clark stands at the center of a decision that could redefine not only her career, but the future of the sport itself. Stay and attempt to reshape the system from within, leave, and prove that her value transcends any single league. So the question becomes unavoidable. If the game's most powerful force chooses a different path, what does that say about the system she left behind? And more importantly, will the league learn from this moment, or will it look back years from now and realize it let something extraordinary slip away? What do you think? Should she stay and fight to change the league, or take the opportunity that guarantees respect and reward? Drop your thoughts below. And if you want more deep dives into the stories shaping sports today, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss what happens next.